Avi Yemini has been deported from the United States. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, welcome to this episode of Heiser Says. I've got my stein of coffee, and I thought I'd talk about what's happened to Avi, or breaking news. He's been deported or detained in the United States and is now on his way back to Australia. So let's read this article from Tommy Robinson News, or TR News. So TR News reporter Avi Yemini has been detained at LAX airport by the US authorities. He's been held for over 6 hours and questioned by the FBI and is now facing deportation. Avi has committed no crime. However, if being an Australian Arab Jewish journalist trying to expose fake news is now a felony, then he's fully guilty. Well, that's a bit of pandering there, but anyway. Avi has been embarking on a trip to the United States to follow up his huge expose of media personality Jim Jeffries. Now, if you're not familiar with what Avi did to Jimmy here, and, Avi's grown on me, to be honest. I watched some of his original stuff, and he's grown on me over time. I think he wears his heart on his sleeve, and he's a young bloke that's a bit reactionary, but you can't really hold that against him, to be honest, at his age, and living in Melbourne. And he had an interview here with Jim Jeffries, who, I'll be honest, I've never heard of. I've never heard of until this. Avi is more famous in my world than this Jim bloke is. That just tells you how little TV I've watched in the last decade, or how often I go to comedy clubs these days. Nonetheless, this guy he's a full-on SJW, bit of a con artist, really, because he's portraying himself one way off camera with Avi, and Avi secretly filmed it, and then the edited video is quite different. So it just adds to the skepticism that everyone has now with mainstream media. No one trusts it at all. And good on him for doing this. He's learning these tricks from Tommy, but he's also suffering the consequences from it. Let's have a look at what Tommy said in a little short here.
So Avi Yemini was flying to America, to LA, to go and question Jim Jeffries. He was held at the airport, detained for 6 hours, questioned by the FBI, and from what I understand, he's now being deported. Share that far, share it wide. Avi, that's what happens when you work for tr.news, bruv.
I like that way he signs off. This is what happens when you work for tr.news. Now, Avi's tweeted about it. Upon arrival in Los Angeles, I was detained and interrogated by the FBI and am currently waiting to be deported from the USA. The informant was at Comedy Central. Full details when I get back home. Okay, so that's what I can find at the moment about this. And I'm going to do some theory crafting. Because I did a video about Yasmin Abdel-Magid. And I will put a card to it about her US deportation, and she was deported because she had the wrong visa. Now, I would suspect, and I've got no evidence for this, this is just me putting a theory out there, and let me know what you think in the comments, that because Comedy Central didn't want any additional bad publicity from Avi going over there, hunting down good old Jimmy boy, they may have put him or reported him to the authorities to get him detained, and maybe he didn't have the correct visa. Maybe he was working. Maybe they didn't pay for the right one, because the visa process over there, and I discussed it in this video, it's complicated depending on what work you do. So guys, that's just a theory. But in the end, it looks really bad for Comedy Central. It looks really bad. I hope that that's what happened. I hope that is what happened. That Comedy Central overreacted and, used the authority of the state to just quash this guy with a simple mistake. I really hope that is the situation. If it's worse, if the government is banning Avi for other reasons, for his expose of this frankly corrupt reporter or comedian turned social justice activist, then that's even worse. And that really fits into the narrative of people being deplatformed, and we're seeing that everywhere it's one thing when Silicon Valley colludes together to deplatform people. I'm not surprised that that's happening at all, because you've got an ecosystem where these people sleep together, they work together, they're like neighbors. So they talk off the record. And now we're seeing the bitter fruit of that collaboration. But if they can leverage the power of the state to kick out a guy who hasn't broken any laws, apparently, who just wants to go and expose someone for their lies, that's concerning. Well, guys, let me know what you think. Do you think it's fair? Do you think it's just a visa issue? Do you think it's something more complicated? Maybe we have to wait and see for Avi to come back home. Another breaking report or issue is what's happened to Julian Assange. Now, he has been deported, arrested from the Ecuadorian embassy. He's been kicked out. And we'll just read a little bit about it here, because I'm sure everyone is well aware of it. So WikiLeaks co-founder Julian Assange winked and smiled as he arrived at a London court, where a judge quickly found him guilty of breaching bail and labelled the Australian a narcissist who cannot get past his own self-interest. The hearing came hours after his dramatic arrest at the Ecuadorian embassy, where he spent the last 7 years holed up. I also heard some comments somewhere where the embassy was complaining that he wasn't cleaning his bathroom or cleaning up after his cat. I mean, sure. Can you imagine, though, just being stuck inside a room in an embassy? That can't be healthy. Assange gave a thumbs up for the police when a police van to a huge media scrum, who were joined outside the Westminster Magistrates Court by protesters and supporters. In a statement, Metropolitan Police confirmed the WikiLeaks founder was taken into custody and was further arrested on behalf of the United States. He's wanted in the US over an alleged conspiracy with Chelsea Manning, where he was today charged in his absence with one of the largest compromises of classified information in the history of the United States. And here is the indictment. So, I'll link to the full one if you'd like to go through it. I may go through it later, but, it's court documents. Grand jury charges. So it's relating to Chelsea Manning. Manning held a top-secret security clearance and signed a classified information non-disclosure agreement acknowledging that the unauthorized disclosure or retention of or negligent handling of classified information could cause irreparable injuries to the United States or to be used to the advantage of a foreign nation. So it's under the conspiracy to commit computer intrusion. And all these wonderful numbers here referring to it. So that's the count, the charge. So the Met Police said they were invited into the embassy by the ambassador following the Ecuadorian government's withdrawal of asylum. In a video capturing the extraordinary moment, the bearded 47-year-old could be seen being dragged out of the embassy in handcuffs, clutching a book. The UK has no freedom, the UK has no stability, the UK must resist. Assange appeared to yell as he was dragged into a public van by at least 8 Scotland Yard police. Now, some Australians have been calling for his, why he's an Australian citizen. Remember, what is Australia going to do? And this is from the Sydney Morning Herald. Our current Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, has confirmed Australia is providing consular assistance to Julian Assange following his arrest in London. But the WikiLeaks founder will receive no special treatment, even in the wake of a US extradition request. An Australian citizen, Assange has lived in the Ecuadorian embassy for more than 6 years until the country ended his political asylum on Thursday for discourteous and aggressive behaviour, and WikiLeaks' hostile and threatening declarations against Ecuador. So, if that's true, which I wouldn't be surprised, I don't know, it seems a bit odd. Why would they attack the country that's providing safety to him? I don't know. Maybe Ecuador is getting something else out of the deal. He was charged with skipping bail by entering the embassy in 2012. Apparently, appearing in Westminster Magistrates Court for 4 hours later, he pleaded not guilty, claiming he had a responsible excuse for seeking asylum as his arrest would end in his extradition to the US. Okay, and let's go down here. Mr. Morrison said a request for consular assistance was made overnight and was being handled by consular officials. On Thursday evening, Mr. Morrison met Foreign Minister Maurice Payne, who spoke with the High Commissioner to the United Kingdom, George Brandis, about the matter. He'll get the consular assistance as you'd expect him to, but he will have to make his way through whatever comes his way in terms of the justice system there, Mr. Morrison said, from Western Sydney, where he is spending the first full day of the election campaign. He won't be getting any special treatment from Australia. he'll be getting the same treatment that any other Australian would get. So keep that in mind. He's getting the same treatment that any other Australian would get. Guys, what do you think about what's happening to Julian? So you're getting Avi deported, now you're getting Julian arrested, you're getting everyone banned from every social media platform you can imagine. TR is going to Telegraph, or Telegram. Telegram or Telegraph? Telegram. And I actually have a Telegram for Heiser Says that I have not been very vigilant on. Maybe I should start doing it. Everyone, please follow me on Telegram when you get it for all the other big YouTube people who are moving there. I'm sure you can find Heiser Says, and I guess it's good for chat. Anyway, please like, share, and subscribe this video. Ding the bell. Let me know what you think about these two issues in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.